Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining today's developer meeting for CloudNativePG. It's the 47th meeting, and on the agenda today, we've got the application for the CNCF sandbox. So there's a draft document here, so we're going through this document. And next week, at the moment, it needs to be confirmed, but we will be presenting the application to the CNCF tag storage. So I encourage everyone to provide feedback, to comment on this draft, because we did our best here, but if there's help, I think it's going to be better. So the first one, of course, is the summary. We'd like to define us more as a platform instead of as an operator, because CloudNativePG, the operator is probably the most important project, but there's the operands, there's libraries, there's other projects that are part of CloudNativePG. There will be plugins in the future. So platform is at the moment what better conveys the goal of the project. So in the description, we try to describe the differentiators of CloudNativePG, the importance of security by default, self-healing, high availability, infrastructure as code, the integration with Kubernetes in general. For example, volume snapshots, we were talking about that before, and the plugin, kubectl plugin, the Helm charts, OLM bundles, so different ways to install also the operator, and CMPGI is the interface that will allow to extend CloudNativePG. And of course, AI and ML, that's what we need to put now, but anyway. There's the URL. This is the main project, the operator, the website, the roadmap. The roadmap at the moment is only for 125 and 126. So 125 will take us to the end of the year, and 126 the first quarter of 2025. Yeah, this is what I put. I didn't want, we like to be pretty much just in time, a just-in-time organization. We would like to see what users or customers ask for, and try and add these features to the roadmap. So this is what I tried to convey there. Contributing guide. Here we explain how to do it. Maybe if I wouldn't mind any an external or a fresh pair of eyes to review all of this stuff, because maybe we all suffer from fixation error here, that we've been looking at this stuff for so long and that we don't see obvious issues. Code of conduct, again, this is especially for Daniel and Jeremy, this is all stuff that comes from the CNCF. So this is why we believe the CNCF is important, because they set the example here. They provide a lot of resources for transparency and for openly governed projects, essentially. So this is probably the most important file. This is the adopters file, and from here you actually see what kind of end users we have. So that's why that's probably one of the most important files that I think it will be looked in the assessment, in the evaluation of the application. When you've got IBM Cloud Pak, Google Cloud, and Azure, just to name a few. I also know that AWS is using these. There's, public recipes, but they're not adopters. But I think this should put us in a good position. At the moment, the main sponsoring organization is Enterprise DB, which should be fine for the sandbox. The sandbox usually, there's one pioneering and leading organization that pushes the development of the project, and then other companies, for incubation and then graduation, which are the next steps, are needed. Are you familiar with the levels of the maturity levels of the projects in the CNCF, like sandbox, incubation, and graduation? So
No,
there's actually a book from Jeffrey Moore, Cross the Chasm, that's been taken by the CNCF. Okay, so the sandbox is the entry level. Okay, so the sandbox, they are the innovators, then early adopters, there's incubation. So it's kind of expected that in the sandbox there's only one major company driving this. Okay, I think there's roughly 40 projects, I think, in no, 26 projects graduated. Okay, so there's Prometheus, Kubernetes, we're talking about the most common projects. And in the database space, there's only two. One is Vitesse and the other one is TKV. But they have graduated 5 years ago, if I remember correctly. So it's more than 5 years that a database does not get in the sandbox. Okay. So yeah, basically sandbox is the first, and there's incubation. There are different criteria. So at the moment, we're just asking to enter the sandbox, so that there will be 126 projects, at the moment.
Are there any other Postgres
No,
projects
no,
that are in the
no.
sandbox?
And that's the reason why they did reject our application 2.5 years ago. The CNCF said that they didn't want to pick one. Okay. And also we were the youngest. We nobody knew about us back then. It was July 2022. The situation now is completely different. Okay, so I think the Kubernetes community has pretty much made a decision right now. So also in terms of license, IP policy, and intellectual property. We are the only one the only project that is not owned by a company. We have a transparent and openly governed policy for the project. So anyway, and also, as I was saying at the start, this is more than an operator. It's more of a platform and a way to bring Postgres in and to run Postgres in Kubernetes. But when we talk about Postgres outside Kubernetes, we think about Postgres instances. Okay, here we talk about a Postgres cluster. We talk about a Postgres HA cluster. I don't know if you follow the allow alter system patch that I proposed last year. It's in Postgres 17. It's a very basic patch, but it gives you an idea about the different mindsets that you have when you run things in Kubernetes from when you run things outside Kubernetes. Okay, the allow alter system encountered a lot of let's say opposition on the let's say core of Postgres, the hardcore Postgres developers. And I think because it was due to the fact that we primarily think of a Postgres instance. So we don't think about the impact of changing max connections in a HA cluster because we think about an instance. Okay, so for example, allowing alter system in a live cluster could bring down an HA cluster in Kubernetes. Okay, because you need, for example, if you raise it, you need to do it first on the instance, on the replica, but for us, they're all the same. That's a foundational principle for CloudNativePG, is that all the instances in an HA cluster are equal. Okay, it's the operator that needs to, be aware of the topology, and if you change the standby sensitive parameters, the operator knows how to do it. But this is again one fine. It was probably the smallest patch in Postgres history with the highest number of discussions, But again, this is because I think we are operating in a completely different layer, which forces us to think in a bit of a different way. So the CNCF here we put, we want to be part of the ecosystem. The governance that I just mentioned, also the importance of a project to be free forever. You saw what happened with Redis or with OpenTofu, Terraform OpenTofu. OpenTofu was taken by the CNCF, So the possibility to integrate with other projects and the special interest groups and technical advisory groups, cooperate with projects like Prometheus, FluentBit, FluentD, and so on. Then I think the storage part, Longhorn, Rook, for example, I've been in touch with the OpenEBS maintainers as well. So yeah, we talk about the benefits to the landscape. So the project addresses a growing need for database solutions that natively support cloud native principles like declarative configuration, scalability, and automation. So we feel that there's only 2 databases that have graduated in the CNCF, and one is kind of MySQL based. The other one is a key value store. We feel that, Postgres is now the most used database in the world. We feel like it's time to have a Postgres kind of engine in the CNCF. Cloud Native Fit. Here we talk about why we think that our operator is kind of Kubernetes native. We don't use a tool that manages the failover or understands the cluster. It's all part of the logic of the cluster resource and the controller. We also provide different ways to install the operator. For example, we like the YAML manifest, but you can use Helm charts, OLM bundles, which then enables OpenShift. I cannot stress enough the importance of infrastructure as code. The fact that we are truly declarative, that we have immutable containers that allow any infrastructure person to know what version of each component is running at any time in their infrastructure, including Postgres. We integrate with the monitoring tools, logging. We export in JSON in standard output. I think also the security by default is important. And in terms of integration, we depend, of course, on Kubernetes and gRPC, and soft dependencies on Helm and the operator framework for OLM. And then we integrate with pretty much every tool that sits around Postgres, like storage or CI/CD tools or GitOps tools, monitoring, set manager, identity managers. For example, Keycloak could use, CloudNativePG. Overlap, there's no overlap according to us because there's no other Postgres based project in the CNCF. And the most similar project that I found in the CNCF is Vitess, because that's a MySQL based tool. Here, we are part of the landscape. CloudNativePG is here. As you can see, it's very active. And this is what I explained before, that we already that the IP has been already prepared to be taken over by the CNCF. And this is what we are going to do to text storage next week. We already presented the project 2 years ago to text storage, and I think even later, if I remember correctly, I think it was me and Leonardo. And now next week, as I said, we're going to do it. I've asked text storage people if they can, champion our project. I've also asked other people in the CNCF. Let's see what they say. Also, I think it's important that what I was saying before, that we believe that Kubernetes can improve how Postgres works, okay? And we can find ways to improve Postgres. Think about, for example, the new extension search path patch that is being discussed for Postgres 18. So basically, this is the presentation of the application. I would like to, if you can, comment, provide different perspective. Maybe if you have time, also help us check what other projects have done and get these finished for next week. Any questions?
If there's any feedback, when would you said next week is when you're aiming to sort of take it to the next step?
So at the moment, estimated. Okay, let me write it here. Oh, all right. Estimated date September. So that's at the moment. We need a confirmation. At the moment, they've put us on hold we are in basically, yeah, planned for next week. Okay, tag storage in half an hour, a week from now. So that's when we're gonna, I don't know if they want us to submit the issue first and then go over it, or just go over this document with them and then we submit. I'll let you know. So if you want, you can join the CNCF sandbox application channel in CloudNativePG, and we can continue there. But I will inform everyone about the about any updates, you know, because it's important to get you know, the support of the community, because if this gets accepted, this project will be free forever, you know. So it's as a Postgres open source person, you know, that I owe everything to Postgres. This will be, you know, this will grant the future for Postgres for, I think, another 10, 15 years, you know, because I believe this will become commodity to run Postgres in Kubernetes in the future. Okay. I'm direct. I mean, if you're getting into Kubernetes now, you want to run Postgres, I think you'd be a fool not to choose this project for so many reasons. Okay. This is I think the foundation for Postgres in Kubernetes for the next years. Okay, so I'm done. Anyone wants to add anything? Leonardo.
Nothing, expects good luck.
Thank you. Yeah, but I think that once this is there, I think showing support on the issue, I think will be important. So if you want, you can even participate next week to tag storage. I will put the details. So I think if they see that there's a lot of us, it would be good, you know.
Sure.
Are you going to post the information on Slack or somewhere else?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I think we're done. Okay, thanks everyone. As I said, if
Thanks.
last call for comments. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.
Gabriel,
Thank
I do
you.
have one.
Yeah, sure. Let me stop the recording.